Hey there, thanks for joining me again. It's xiExO casting another Grandmaster game between xiExO and JuLEbatard here on Shakura's Plateau. We have xiExO in the top right hand corner as the blue Protoss and JuLEbatard in the bottom left hand corner as the red Protoss. Now, EXO is in the Grandmaster League. Not sure about Jul, though it's safe to assume they're a Master League or higher level player. And we're going to see some PvP post-patch 1.3.3, which should net us, hopefully at least, some Archon Zeal play, which has become increasingly popular. Archon Zeal Immortal, specifically, has become very popular versus the standard Gateway Colossus mix. Instead of using Colossus, you're using Archons and Immortals essentially for your gas, your heavy gas units and your heavy tank units. And this is a pretty popular strategy. We saw it used in the NASL this last week, and let's see if either of the players use it here. I would assume one of them would, as it's literally like every game I've seen recently has had it, and it's really much more exciting to watch than just the Colossus giant laser beam shooting at each other. And it's especially fun to watch when one of the people goes Colossus and the other one goes for this mix. So we have gases being picked up at identical times. EXO sending out a scout earlier than Jul here, so he's probably gonna be able to adapt his build order based on what he sees going on at Jul's base, which is going to be a big advantage for him. While Jul hasn't even sent a scouting probe yet, let alone does he know which location EXO is coming from, so he may not be able to scout the build order quite as fast. And it sounds like, and when you see a player scouting this late, they're pretty much set in what build order they want to do. While if you're scouting this early, you're ready to adapt. So it really shows the hallmarks of a great player if you see them scouting early and then adapting their build order based on what they see coming out of the other person, because that's really what it's all about, and that's what's going to keep you alive in the long run. EXO coming down here and stealing those 5 minerals, which if the game comes down to 5 minerals, you know, that probe's a hero. If not, he's just kind of a little silly for just stealing them, I guess. Then again, it's denying 5 minerals from your opponent, so you do what you got to do. It doesn't hurt anything. So, second gateway going down for Jul here, and his cybernetics core finishes just barely before EXO's, and the Zeal is going to usher this probe out a little bit from the base, and looks like it's just going to go ahead and return home. It knows the Stalker is going to be coming up next, and that will definitely drive it out. In the meantime, EXO is chasing down the probe in his base with his Zeal, and chrono boosting out a sentry, and he has a second gas. So here's where we see the build order differentiation. Jul went for 2 gate, EXO went for 2 gate 1 gas. EXO went for 2 gas 1 gate. So he's going to be going more of a tech heavy build, which would lead to either Colossus or Immortals or Archons. And he's pumping out a sentry here second, which is indicative again of the tech play. You want a sentry to fend off what you know is going to be a more overwhelming force until your tech gets out. And EXO just dropped his second and third gateways, while Jul is running on 2 gateways with a third one coming up, though his warp gate is just barely behind EXO's. Yeah, not very much behind EXO's. Looks like he's been using his chrono boost on units, and EXO has used at least 1 chrono boost on his warp gate. And looks like the rest on probably probes. EXO dropping a robo bay here, so it's going to be a 3-gate robo for defense into an expansion, while Jul's still on sticking on those 3 gates and is expanding. Looks like very soon. They dropped a tabard, or a wow, how did I get a tabard out of there? I guess Batard right in front of my face. They dropped a pylon right here at the top of their ramp and are moving across for some light 3-gate pressure. There's no pylon over here near it, so it's not like they're going to get any reinforcements, and they are going to pick off a probe, it looks like. These 2 stalkers, yep, they pick off that probe. So if the engagement ends at that, Jul came out ahead by 50 minerals by picking off that 1 probe. Now Jul has still not yet picked up the second gas. It's pretty surprising. It looks like they're going to move out and expand soon then, as they're floating over 400 minerals, chrono boosting out more econ. EXO in the meantime has 3 sentries up, 2 stalkers, a Zeal that looks like it's going to die for free, unfortunately. Is it going to get through? Nope, does not get through the shields. Is 2 attacks away from doing so. And Immortal moving is about to pop out, and I assume he's going to push out down the ramp so he can pick up his expansion right after that. In the meantime, JuL did expand with those minerals he was floating, and is dropping a forge in the background, probably for some light tech, or maybe some cannons at the top of his ramp in order to defend from Dark Templars, as he hasn't seen an expansion, and that's definitely something that... Oh, Immortal moving out with this force. Looks like they're going to pick off 2 of these stalkers. Oh, force fields go down. Actually, getting a 3rd stalker, definitely worth it for the engagement of that 150 energy. Probably could have just used 100, but, you know, energy replenishes, and that stalker isn't going to come back to life anytime soon, so... Might come back as an Immortal later. I don't know if they salvage him from the actual same battlefield. Anyway, yeah, it looks like cannons are going up in front of JuL's base, probably for Dark Templar detection, as well as holding off that Immortal, which is the power unit on the field right now. And xiExO is taking his expansion behind this. It's not pushing at all, which is smart. They're going to start transitioning this into a macro game. And probe transfer coming down into the natural of JuL here. Meanwhile, back at xiExO's base, he has an ob out. His expansion is mostly done. Looks like it was about 60 seconds behind in game time from JuL's expansion. And a Templar Archive's finishing up. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes for Storm, or he's just going to start picking up High Templars and morphing them into Archons. And of course, when you're going for the Archon build, you actually want Dark Templar or High Templars over Dark Templars, because Dark Templars cost way more minerals, 75 more minerals, and only 25 less gas. So really, they are not the better choice for morphing Archons in Protoss versus Protoss. In other matchups, they can be, because Dark Templars can do a lot of damage, because there's not necessarily mobile detection out of the other 2 races that's as reliable as an observer for Protoss. So, an Archon is out, and it is out to be a giant energy monster that stomps down force fields. That is his role in this army. He is a force field stomper, which is why this strategy came into being with the change to making Archons massive, because they can stomp down force fields, which previously only the Colossus could do in Protoss versus Protoss. So it made it so you had to go for a Colossus unless you're just never going to get to the meat of the other player's army, because there would just be force fields between the 2 armies and the Colossus is just shooting lasers at each other. But now that the Archons can knock it down, it really added a fantastic dynamic and a great change to the game. And it looks like JuL is gearing up to take his 2nd expansion, actually. He's just kind of sharking around the middle of the map, making sure there isn't any pylons on his side that can warp in and deal some damage, and preventing any type of scouting being able to be done by xiExO here. xiExO up to 2 Archons. He's getting legs for his Zeals. He's picked up his Forge. Looks like he's going to start +1 damage right when it finishes, dropping down 2 more gateways. So it does look like it's going to be this Archon Zeal Immortal mix that's really awesome to watch. In the meantime, JuLEbatard has moved up to 8 gateways, well, 6 operational, 2 more coming up. So he's going to have a massive gateway force, and this can actually hold pretty well versus this army. Though the Archons are actually fantastic against Zeals, because they are light and biological, and Archons deal plus 35, or they do 35 instead of 25 damage versus biological, and they do a small splash, which if like 3 Zeals run up and start tanking an Archon, the Zeals are actually hitting, all 3 of them are hitting the Archon, but the Archon is hitting all 3 of the Zeals. So it can be really deadly there. And xiExO hasn't picked up Storm yet, so it looks like he is just going to be going with these Archons, at least for now. And he's following around these Stalkers in the middle of the map with his Observer, and looks like there's going to be a bit of engagement here. Archon starting out, doing some pretty good damage. Blink Stalkers running away from those charge lots, and they are going to retreat back to defending the front of these now 3 bases. Well, 3rd base about to come up. Meantime, xiExO is running more units across the field. It doesn't have a forward pylon that's that close. It's a little bit closer from down here, but not that much closer. So he's just running them from his base. And xiExO Yeah, it doesn't look like he's planning on using Storm, at least not right now. You can tell by the hotkeys for a Protoss player what their tech paths are going to be a lot of the time. Like here you see all of the units on one hotkey. He can't actually use sentries in this formation that he has right now. So really, these two Templars are going to be there for feedback. Oh, Storm's actually almost finishing. I guess it was on the production tab that entire time, but there we go. So he is going to be using it. See, he just moved those sentries over to 2, so he plans on storming and then swapping over to 2 instead of just, you know, clicking on the sentries, which would not be efficient in the middle of this giant ball of Zeals. It would be kind of hard to pick out, actually. JuL has a forward pylon placed at this third of xiExO that is just finished up, so he might be able to warp in units and kill off some probes on a good probe transfer. In the meantime, JuL is getting +1 armor, already has +1 attack, xiExO at +1 attack, and is picking up +2 attack, which is interesting because the forge for JuL is down way earlier, so it looks like it's sat inactive for a very long time, as xiExO was at least 200 seconds in game behind. Oh, observer getting picked off there by this new observer rolling up. And some Zeals being morphed in over here to try and warped in over here, trying to take out the probes in xiExO's expansion, but they don't get anything done. And xiExO is moving forward. Looks like he may be wanting to attack with this force. Quite a few units on the field for both players right now. A Colossus in production for JuLEbatard. Man, that is a weird name. And that might be able to equalize these armies, but right now it looks like xiExO is going to handily win whatever fight he comes into. He has legs on his Zeals, and the Archons just deal massive damage. So let's see how this goes down. Storms going down all over JuL's army, blinking those back out of the Storms, but the Zeals are just getting eaten alive by the Archons, and xiExO looks like it's actually pretty even right now. There's 6 Archons, 4 of them are morphing though. And now these Archons just dealing damage on these Stalkers who have retreated back up into the natural of JuL. And it looks like xiExO is trying to either bait them. Oh, blink right back over right after the force fields go down. And xiExO is moving up. It looks like he wants to take out this third base of JuL and get ahead economically here. In the meantime, behind it we see xiExO picking up his 4th base. So here xiExO is pushing into the third. I'm not sure he's going to be able to take it with this force that he has right here, but reinforcements should be coming across soon. A proxy pylon has been dropped in the middle. Colossus going to work on these sentries, and these Archons and Zeals are just chasing back JuL's army. And it looks like it's the beginning of the end here for JuL. These Archons just take so much damage to kill. And actually the way they're spread out at this exact moment, the Colossus is actually only hitting one of them whenever it swipes. And looks like JuL manages to hold for now, but fearsome resupply of many High Templars here for xiExO. He has 6 new High Templars on the field. Most of them actually have enough energy already for Storm, and Immortal looks like it's going to try and go tank the entire army by itself. I'm not sure. I mean, he seems like a cool guy, but nope. He's like, oh wait, you guys not coming? My bad. Coming back. I can't tank all those myself. And there are 2 Colossus on the field. 3rd Colossus hitting the field right now for JuL. And it looks like xiExO is going to move up and try and take out this expansion. A lot of those Zeal's charge actually were wasted on that probe. Not that it matters that much. There they are charging in, taking out the 2 cannons, and here comes the Colossus. They do have a pretty good distance advantage. Storm's going down on all of the units. Oh, so many probes dying to Storms. Oh, in the middle of a transfer. Actually, they were running back, I think. That was devastating. And these Colossus just ripping through the 2 Immortals on the low ground. There are 3 Colossus up here, and they do a lot of damage. And looks like they're going to be retreating towards their base. xiExO is going to be able to take out this natural, or this 2nd expansion, and lots of Zeals being warped in for xiExO. Look at all those Zeals. That is going to become an overwhelming force. And in the meantime, a 5th base has been taken, so getting further ahead, xiExO is going to, looks like he's going to try and get behind these Colossus. Yeah, there they go. And let's watch the, oh my goodness, look at all those Zeals charge in, immediately dropping that 1 Colossus, 2 more down to very little life. But with the high ground, they just wow, so many Zeals. As soon as they step down off the ledge, they get charged and just ripped apart. And it looks like these Zeals are going to clean up that last... There's one last Colossus, and is running away from a Zeal. And it looks like too much for Jul. Calls no call of GG, just straight leaves the game. No, it's ladder. It's not like it's a tournament, so manners aren't quite as common. But xiExO in a commanding win here. He picks up... He's on 5 bases when this ends with 99 probes, and he's just streaming units across the map here. He has as many gateways as his opponent, who went with an entirely gateway army till the very end, where he started picking up Colossus. And Jul did get a 4th up there in the midst of all that, and never actually technically lost the Nexus on the 3rd. He was defending it really well. He was keeping xiExO engaged and not letting that get picked off, so if he actually won a big fight, he would have been easily able to transition back probe-wise over to this expansion. But losing all those probes in transition and not mining from this 3rd for so long just cost him the game. xiExO just got ahead economically and just kept reinforcing. And that was a great game out of xiExO, demonstrating this Zeal, Archon, the few Immortals, and High Templar Storm's army that's just extremely powerful in the new PvP dynamic, and it's much more exciting to see, I think, than the Colossus. Though watching those Colossus just rake over the armies in this game that was pretty cool. Those 4 Colossus just beating up xiExO's army. Anyway, if you liked this video, and if you liked my casting, or one or the other, doesn't have to be both, go ahead and like this video down at the bottom. There we go. Those are the words that were trying to come out of my mouth. Hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this on my Justin TV, hit the follow button, and I will see you guys next time. This was Lokazi casting for you, and thanks for tuning in.